Basically, I'm not thinking about monetization. I'm not thinking about profit. For me, it's a very simple goal. I just want to impact people's life. So for me, the very first stage, I just want to hit a certain numbers in terms of following, because that would have proven whatever I shared means something. For me, profit is not in the goal, it's not in the equation. For me, it's just numbers. I want people to view it and really need people to hear what I did.
This podcast is brought to you by Penji. Penji is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With Penji, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day, carefully crafted for you by humans. So meet your new creative team today. Head over to penji.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
Today, I'm joined here with a very special guest, Boone. Boone
Hi,
Feng.
happy to be here.
We're very happy to have you. And tell us a little bit about yourself for anybody who's watching this that doesn't know you, that wants to get to know who you are, a little bit more about your platform, what you do.
All right, sure. I apologize in advance. It's not something that I do on daily basis, but I started putting myself out there 2 years ago. I'm basically just a creative entrepreneur. Started being very passionate about doing video, but over the time, I realized that to really make an impact in the society, in the world, I really need to put myself out there to influence, to really just connect with people all around the world and not just limit myself holding the camera, doing what I love to do, video shooting, photo shooting and all. So I started to just put myself out there and educate. That's pretty much what I do these days. I educate, I inspire more young entrepreneurs to really do what they do best at a different level, at a level where they can really spread that influence. So yeah, I think that's a very quick short intro about myself.
Actually, I've seen your channel a long time before we decided to work with you because you got pretty popular, I think back in like 2017, or maybe it was me. Cause I don't
Really?
I don't remember what year, but I remember seeing your videos, like, a long, long time ago, and I always thought they were really interesting. Maybe it wasn't 2017, actually, maybe it was, like, 2020?
I don't know what's the video about.
I remember you were making videos about business and content, and I remember, like, I really liked how you were just explaining things in a really simple way. But I don't like I found your channel and I think you were a lot smaller, I think, when I sort of started to watch your videos. And when we were gonna start working with you, I saw that you had grown so much and I was just like, "Oh my gosh." So this is a little bit fan moment for me.
Well, it you caught me by surprise at that. I really didn't expect you've been following me since that long ago. To me, my memory serves me right. I only started like actively posting on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, back in 2022. In fact, I remember I started being really serious about it back in 2022 April. That's pretty much when I started to, I tell myself I need to do this like really consistently. But prior to that, I did churn out one or couple of videos. I did some lives and I put them into recording and uploaded on YouTube, but it was not really consistent because I was doing a lot of offline activity at that time. It's only until the pandemic and lockdown happens and I decided that I really need to take this a little bit more seriously. So that was 2022 April. I started to really, and yeah, in just a few months time, like couple of months time, I see the results, the following, the engagement just shoot up like a rocket.
Really? Wow, 'cause that's interesting because I remember seeing your videos, like, a long time maybe I'm just, like maybe just my clock is wrong because I remember seeing it, like, a long time ago, like, maybe I'm just not thinking properly, but I remember seeing, like, a few of your videos back way back then, and I remember, like, you were talking about just, like, how to grow on social media, I think.
Hmm, okay. I did something like that. I remember, probably, 2018, 2019, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's probably then, because I remember it was a while back, but I remember watching it and actually, like, being interested in it, and I can't believe, like, now you've sort of, like, gotten even bigger. Because I think there's a lot of, like, influencers from that I followed before that I guess sort of they have, like, moments where they do really well, and then they sort of fall off, and or they whatever they're doing is not interesting anymore, and you've managed to sort of keep your content interesting to your audience and actually, get even bigger.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I wouldn't really call myself an expert in this area, but I do really have a burning desire. I really have that desire to impact people's life, change people's life, transform people's life. And that's what sort of motivates me doing this a little bit more consistently and a little bit more intentional, I would say. And I guess that sort of translated into numbers result. I think it also I feels good, that whatever that I'm doing has been validated by the people, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, obviously, like, when something that you're passionate about also inspires others, it's obviously gonna be a great feeling, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And, so as you've sort of grown your platforms, what is it that you have kind of experienced most when it comes to any kind of difficulties? So, because we have a lot of people who are trying to grow on social media that listen to us, and I think they really struggle with starting to see numbers grow or numbers change. Or I think I've also seen people who really don't know which platform to focus on, and they're focusing on all of them, and none of them are doing good. Um, so how did you figure that side out of like, "Oh, maybe I should just do YouTube, or maybe I'll do TikTok and I'll do YouTube, or I'll do Instagram too," or, how did you sort of decide where to put your effort most into?
And that's a really good question because I do get that a lot, when I come across people and people ask me, how how do I get to where I am today? What was the thing that I do right? So my answer to them is, unfortunately, you might not like my answer. I really don't know any tricks. There's no tricks or secrets to this, really. Um, so I'm gonna tell you what's sort of how I get started and what sort of the I would say method that I always put it at the back of my head when I do any kinds of video. Okay, so the first thing first, I would say focus on the content and the people who would benefit from the content. So don't think about even how you're gonna deliver it at that point. I'm just thinking, I have this message and I know who needs to hear it. Okay, so that's number one. Focus on the content and who needs to hear it. And then the second thing I think about is what is my way of what's my strength when it comes to delivering that message. Some people are better in writing. Obviously, I'm not that person. Some people are better with just using their voice. I wouldn't say my voice is the sexiest or the most the greatest voice. But I do like video. That's where I came from. I came from the background where I just love shooting videos, right? So I feel that I know myself best that if I want to get the message across, it's best that I use video format. And along the journey, I realized that actually doing video does come with quite a number of benefits. Like it's part of personal branding, it's part of your intellectual property. I do have people stealing my videos from my TikTok channel and uploaded it on Instagram, and they get such a crazy amount of views. Like even my own channel, I didn't get as many views, but they got like 3 million views from one of the short video that I produced on TikTok.
Oh my gosh.
They just took it and they put it on Instagram without me knowing it. It's just that because my face is in the video, so people who recognize my face, they were like DM me, they message me and like, hey, Wenfei, I saw your video, but it's not your channel. You want to do something about it. I get that kind of message a lot. So, and this is where I felt that, putting your face in a video and deliver it, sometimes it has that benefit. People recognize you, people heard you, they recognize your voice. So so yeah, I mean that's the benefit of video. So that's the second thing, how you want to deliver the message. Of course, the last thing I would say, uh, you gotta do a lot of try and error, which platform works for you best. Now, some people will say YouTube, some people say Instagram. Honestly, I would say screw it, just go and test it out. Because what we do is as a content creator, we create content. Content is our assets. And that asset can be used in whatever channel. It can be like, for example, one of the short videos that I do, it can be on YouTube as YouTube shorts. It can be on Instagram as reels. It also can be in TikTok. It eventually, who knows, maybe there are other platforms out there that suddenly, compete with all of these big guys, and it's still relevant, applicable, right? So for me, I just focus on building that assets. I just focus on building assets. I don't care what sort of algorithm is in favorable of me. I just put it out there. I even tried putting it on LinkedIn, but the number was terrible. So I stopped. I realized that, might as well I just focus on platforms that giving me the best result. But at the beginning, I really don't know. So I tried all of them. I started with YouTube. 2 months later, I go into Instagram. I just use back the same videos, put it on Instagram. Then I think about 4 months later after I did that, on Instagram, I put it on TikTok as well. So yeah, and I know I hear it's just go correct. I just focusing on what I do best, which is the content, the message, and I deliver the message in a way that I think is best for me. And yeah, let the platform do the rest.
I think you're, like, very interesting because what you're saying is just how you just do what you want, basically, and, you do your best, you do a lot of, like you're true to yourself, essentially, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is that, you do what you think you're good at, you do what you enjoy the most, and you give something that you like, and then you let everything else just kind of fall into place, which is a really interesting and very commendable way of, like, doing things. Because 'cause I've spoken to people who have, like, a million strategies and people who have, like, "Oh, like, I'm gonna post 7,000 videos a day, and I'm just gonna film all the time, and I'm just gonna film my entire life and, see what hits," and sort of, like, the idea of, like, just, like, throwing spaghetti to a wall and see what sticks. And I think it's certainly a strategy and it works for a lot of people, but it can also be really exhausting, and I've seen, like, how much burnout that can cause because people are just, like, doing so much and then seeing nothing come out of it, you know?
Hmm. I think you sort of brought up a point here. I think when we all jump into this journey of creating content, we have an expectation, right? We expect some people may expect monetization. Some people expect different things. Like for me, I'm a little bit I wouldn't I'm not sure what word to describe myself, but basically I'm not thinking about monetization. I'm not thinking about profit. For me, it's a very simple goal. I just want to impact people's life by so for me, the very first stage, I just want to hit a certain numbers in terms of following because that would have proven whatever I shared means something. Right. So for me, profit is not in the goal, it's not in the equation. For me, it's just numbers. I want people to view it and really need people to hear what I've said. I really need people to benefit from the things that I've shared. So I really need the following. I need the validation. That's pretty much my first phase. And honestly, I haven't really moved on to the second phase. Like the second phase to me, it would be to start how can I give even more to the people who has already been following me, right? I sort of need to plan that. But I still currently at the very initial phase where I just really need to build the following. That's of course that's me, right? Different people may have a very different expectation, but yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, but your following is growing really fast 'cause, I was actually really happy when I saw you and I saw that, you know, we were gonna have you on the podcast and all of that because I had seen you before, like I said, but I didn't really remember. You know how you see people, but you don't really remember their names or you don't really remember who they are? And I had, like, seen your videos, and I didn't really remember your name, or I didn't really remember, your like, who you were. I just remember the content that I was watching, and then when I found you, I was so excited, and then I saw that you were doing so much better, and you were posting so much more, and I was like, "Ah, look at that." And, um to me, it was just, like, surprising because 'cause you've been doing it a lot more now than back in the past, like you said, and I think it's become very lucrative for you, and I see you growing so much more, just in general towards the future.
Yeah, I mean, it really surprised me as well. When the numbers hit like uh 30,000 and more, I started to get a lot of opportunities, called spin-offs that I really did not expect. You know, honestly, if you've been watching my videos, you know that I don't really have like a call to action to ask people to buy my stuff. Make an appointment with me. For me, it's just very simple. If you like it, you like it. If you want to, if you want to follow me, I don't even have any sort of that kind of call to action. So I really just share wholeheartedly. And yeah, I really just sort of leave the rest to my audience. I think if they want to follow me, they will follow me without me telling them what to do. So really at this point, this is my way of doing it lah.
So, how are you If because I've seen a lot of influencers who really prioritize monetization and who really have, like, a lot of call to actions and who are really just trying to work on, like, brand deals and businesses and things like that to make money. And obviously, you're doing this more out of, like, the passion side. How are you able to keep up with the financial side of this whole thing? And, I'm assuming that you are getting more sponsorship opportunities and brands and things like that reaching out to you the more that your following grows. And, I it probably has changed your life from before when you were not as popular as you are now. How are you managing all of these changes and the financial side of it?
All right, I think that's a fair question because I think for me, the content creation part, and also I think right now I do consider myself a micro influencer, but honestly, all of this is not. I don't expect income from it at least for the couple of years, and I do have my own business. So my own business does. I do coaching. I do strategy. I myself a brand strategist, and I do business strategy coaching as well. So those are like my main income stream. So to me, content is just a way to reach out to the masses that, uh, I guess I really need people to understand what I do. Because even before they engage my service, I think they should sort of understand the situation that they are in, and where should where I need to point them the direction where to look for help. So I think I use the content marketing or this journey as the content creator to really just let people know, to educate, to spread the awareness. Not so much on monetization. Again, it doesn't mean that I don't plan to do so. I broke it down to phases. Like the second phase, I probably would think about that. How can I add even more to my audience? But really, at its very first phase, monetization is really not in my region at this point. But to basically to summarize your question, I do make money from other income stream. I do have my own other businesses that generates the income.
That's
Mm.
good, yeah, because I think what you said is really important, which is, like, there's, like, different moments where first you wanna sort of have a rapport and you wanna get that content out there and then focus on the financial part of it. Because I think I've seen a lot of people who focus solely on that and who have their main focus be the money that they will potentially be making, and I think a lot of times that could make your content a little bit less authentic, right? And, like, I think you're living proof that when you sort of just start doing it passionately, all of that will come to you slowly.
Yeah, in fact, I think as perhaps as words of encouragement, uh, I started this, posting it very consistently back in 2022 April, I said, and then 2 months later, I think some June or July around there, I move on to Instagram Reels, and from Instagram Reels, I do get my clients from there. So I do get people who are really desperately, and they reach out, they call me, right? I do include some, call to action buttons. I just don't actively say in the video. So they do, linger around my profile, and they press the call button and they call me. And I was like, who are you? Where you come from? And then they told me, oh, I saw your videos and blah, blah, blah on Instagram. I'm really curious. How can I get you to look at my business and all that? So I do get this kind of inquiry, people who really wants help, and they saw that I sort of have the expertise through the videos I've shared. So yeah, I think you see, even me intentionally asking people to call me, people who understand the need, they understands that the problem is really relatable. They will take the necessary action. This is what I thought, and it has proven me right.
Yeah. So I'm curious, where do you get most people reaching out to you from? Because obviously, you're on social media and anybody from the world can sort of see your videos and reach out. Um, and do you get like a specific type of audience or a specific type of demographic directly reaching out to you, or is it very varied?
Mm, it's quite broad, honestly. I have people from like where I stay right now in Malaysia. Um, there are people who are near my neighbor countries from Singapore, Vietnam, and Australia. And then I think I even have people from United States, Germany, South Africa. So it's like I have no idea. I am not intentionally targeting these people, but I would say whatever the topics that I talk about are pretty much relevant to entrepreneurs, people who are either growing a business, growing a brand. It's relevant to these people. So to me, I'm not really looking at which country, which demographics. Just in general, for now, my content is rather broad for most of the entrepreneurs are relatable.
Yeah. And an entrepreneur could be from like anywhere, not just, a specific country or place. The reason I'm asking is because I applied for a job like a few years back, and I remember it was like a marketing thing. They wanted to focus on the marketing of a certain country, and it was from Spain, actually, I remember, and the company was very focused on getting someone from Spain to be at that job, and because they wanted someone to do, like, brand strategy and social media and a lot of those things. I applied because I am a Latina, so I speak Spanish, and I thought maybe, I'll have a shot, like, they wanted someone who spoke Spanish, but then when they rejected me, they told me, like, "You're great, but you're not from Spain, and we really want someone from Spain." And I was kind of, like, taken aback because I was like, "Seriously, why are you caring so much about where I'm from?" Um, and they said that they were just, like, really focusing on that one because they really wanted to grow the market from there, and the demographic was really important, and how a local person, like a Spanish person, was gonna be a lot more fitting for the job than anybody who wasn't from Spain because they wouldn't really know, like, the ins and outs of what the marketing strategies were, how, like, marketing was on that specific country, what performed well and what not. And I thought it was a really interesting perspective because I guess in my head, I always thought of it as like, this is for anybody. Like anybody can be on social media. And I'm pretty sure I could just do research on Spain and that would be enough. But they like no. And they had like a very after like, later, I had a friend who worked there who told me that they had, like, very specific buckets of marketing, and they had different teams of people in for every country. So if they were doing marketing in, like, the US, they would only have a US team for that, and they would only have, like, a Spain team and so on to keep everybody sort of separated, and I was really surprised because I had never thought about the perspective of caring so much about where the person was from in order to sort of focus branding and things along those lines.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess there are certain requirements for a very specific type of jobs. Um, there may be requirements like that.
Obviously, it doesn't apply for you, but I was just really interested in seeing if, you felt a difference with your clients or with the people that you talk to, or if they have any kind of like localized needs, or if you feel like, you can really just talk to anybody and that kind of barrier isn't there.
To me, that question actually, it doesn't matter which country you're from, even within the same area where I stay, uh, there are people who behave rather differently. Like the way they spend their money is rather different. And I'm just talking about about 15-kilometer radius difference. Like we're just staying 15 kilometers apart, and we can have a very different
Life.
behavior kind of audience, right? So to me, I get this question a lot, regardless whether we are from the same country or we are from a very different country. So my answer to that question is that whatever we do is we are basing on a framework. We have our own system, we have a structure, and we do allocate a portion of that to do research. We do a survey to really understand at the local, very local level, how are people behaving, things like that. So really, it doesn't matter to me where they're from. We practice. I mean, we have the process, and we go through the same process. I like to use another. I would say, to put it simply, how I look at brand is like we are growing a baby, right? A baby can have different kinds of personality. Me as perhaps a teacher or a parent, my job is to make sure the baby knows how to speak, knows how to walk, knows how to run, and grow, right? So regardless how they behave, we have a way to make sure that they achieve the growth that they should.
Yeah,
So
then
we just do our thing. Yeah.
they find their own path, right? Like, we added this eventually. That's a really good, interesting take because, like I said, I've seen people who really care about very like specific things like that, and I think sort of giving freedom to things to just sort of breathe. And there are certain things that you can't control, and just letting them grow on their own is also really well.
Mm, yeah.
So, for anybody listening that wants to find you, that just discovered you here on this call, where do you want to tell them to go? What avenue would you want to direct them to, your business or anything along those lines? The floor is yours.
All right. I mean, at this point, whichever platform that you hang around the most. I mean, if you are a Facebook user, you can find me on Facebook definitely. Just search for my name. And if you prefer to watch videos on TikTok, I'm on TikTok as well. So yeah, and pretty much I made sure that I presence everywhere. So choose the one that you prefer the most. If you ask me, my preference, uh, go to TikTok.
Okay, yeah, we'll get all of your social media links on the description and everything so that people can go find you on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, like you said, everywhere, YouTube, and that they can see your content. And it's obviously really great. I've seen it for a long time. So, um, I also wanted to thank you so much for coming on the show today and talking to me and um, having a great time.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me. I mean, I don't really do this very often, but I'm glad that I had this opportunity. It's really my pleasure.
Yeah, it's been great. So, guys, we'll talk to you on the next episode. And thank you, Voon Fei, for being here.
Thank you, Daniela.
Thank you. Okay, goodbye.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest. And to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend and, of course, subscribe.